Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. How does Indian society maintain continuity in traditional social values? Enumerate the changes taking place in it. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. India is a rich mosaic of diverse cultures, communities, religions, languages, and ethnic groups. In a true sense, India is a plural society. There are diversities within it, yet there are threads of unity along with a common shared historical heritage, values, and beliefs. The main body of the answer should be certain social values like tolerance, collectivism, spiritualism, nonviolence, etc. have been part of our traditional value system. Institution of family, collective elaboration of festivals, social gatherings, marriages, has helped in preserving traditional social values. Number 1. One of the great themes pervading Indian life is social interdependence. People are born into groups, families, clans, subcastes, castes, and religious communities and feel a deep sense of inseparability from these groups. Number 2. Of the various factors which have enabled our society to adapt, integrate, or fail to adapt, integrate, the most important ones are political independence and introduction of democratic values, industrialization, urbanization, increase in education, legislative measures, social change in the caste system, and social movements and social awareness like feminism, globalization, casteism. Modern education has made progressive values like gender equality, non-discrimination in a caste basis, etc. as a part of the value system. Now, social media is influencing our social values both in a good and bad way. Conclusion of the answer is, however, some of the changes are detrimental to society, like the decline of tolerance, decline of joint family as an institution, rise of individualism, and decline in collective values, etc. Traditional values and ways of thinking still play a strong role in India's social fabric and would seem to continue to do so, despite the advent of global media and technology, which have become all-pervasive. Question number 2. Discuss the essential conditions for exercise of the legislative powers by the governor. Discuss the legality of repromulgation of ordinances by the governor without placing them before the legislature. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. State legislature comprises 2 or 3 wings. Article 213 of the Constitution provides him the power of promulgation of ordinances when the condition arises. The main body of the answer should be essential conditions for exercise of the legislative powers by the governor. Number 1. He can promulgate an ordinance only when no council, only assembly will be considered, the houses of state legislature are not in session, or when either of the two houses of state legislature is not in session. Number 2. He can promulgate an ordinance only when he is satisfied that circumstances exist which render it necessary for him to take immediate action. Number 3. His ordinance-making power is coextensive with the legislative power of the state legislature. This means that he can issue ordinances only on those subjects on which the state legislature can make laws. Number 4. He can promulgate or withdraw an ordinance only on the advice of the council headed by the chief minister. Legality of repromulgation of ordinances by the governor without placing them before the legislature. Number 1. An ordinance issued by him ceases to operate on the expiry of 6 weeks from the reassembly of the state legislature. It may cease to operate even earlier than the prescribed 6 weeks, if a resolution disapproving it is passed by the Legislative Assembly and is agreed to by the Legislative Council. Number 2. He can repromulgate the ordinance but with the conditions said in the DC Vadhva case. Number 3. The SC ruled that successive repromulgation of ordinances with the same text without any attempt to get the bills passed by the Assembly would amount to violation of the Constitution, and the ordinance so repromulgated is liable to be struck down. Number 4. It held that the exceptional power of lawmaking through ordinance cannot be used as a substitute for the legislative power of the state legislature. Question number 3. The Nobel Prize in Physics of 2014 was jointly awarded to Akasaki, Amano and Nakamura for the invention of blue LEDs in 1990s. How has this invention impacted the everyday life of human beings? Let's start with the introduction of the answer. When Isamu Akasaki, Hiroshi Amano and Suji Nakamura produced bright blue light beams from their semiconductors in the early 1990s, they triggered a fundamental transformation of lighting technology. Red and green diodes had been around for a long time, but without blue light, white lamps could not be created. Furthermore, the high-energy blue light could be used to excite phosphorus and directly produce white light, the basis of the next generation of a light bulb. The invention of blue LEDs opened floodgates for several applications. The main body of the answer should be impact of LED on everyday life. Number 1. Today, blue LEDs are found in people's pockets around the world, inside the lights and screens of smartphones. Number 2. White LED lamps, meanwhile, deliver light to many offices and households. They use much less energy than both incandescent and fluorescent lamps. Number 3. LED have become an essential component in digital screens because they offer higher contrast than their predecessor technologies. Number 4. LED offers great variation in size, their size range from few millimeters to several foots. Number 5. Materials consumption is also diminished as LEDs last up to 100,000 hours compared to 1,000 for incandescent bulbs and 10,000 hours for fluorescent lights. Conclusion of the answer I is: the LED lamp holds great promise for increasing the quality of life for billions of people around the world who lack access to electricity grids. Even the government has realized their importance in energy conservation, and Ujala scheme, Unnat Jyoti by Affordable LEDs for All, was launched in 2015 with a target of replacing 77 crore incandescent lamps with LED bulbs.